Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is Hannah. If you're new around here, I am a homeschool mom of 4 kids, 3rd grade, 1st grade, and then 2 tag-alongs at the very end, 2 little boys. And I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for popping in. Today's video, I'm going to be sharing about how I prioritize enrichment in our homeschool study. This is an open collaboration by Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica at the Waldock Way. They're both amazing mothers, homeschool moms, and be sure to check out the description below so that you can find other mothers that are sharing about their enrichment favorites and how they prioritize that. There's a whole playlist. I have been truly inspired by checking them out, so be sure to do that. And I'm excited today to share a little bit about how we prioritize enrichment in our home. One of the reasons that I love YouTube is because I think it's incredible that homeschooling really isn't one shoe fits all. We're all very unique. We all have different choices of curriculum, how we run our days, and I find it very inspiring and fascinating just to see how everyone else chooses different things in their home. And so enrichment is no exception. I would love to hear in the comments if you're a homeschool mom, or even if you're not, the ways that you prioritize enrichment in your home, because this is really something that I think we can be so intentional no matter what our education style of choices in our house. Enrichment is just a way to bring a feast of ideas to our children, and this is no exception. And so I'm going to share a little bit first about just my journey in homeschooling. So I was actually homeschooled myself, an amazing experience. I truly just enjoyed growing up in that, but being a homeschool mom is very different than being a homeschool student. Oh, can I get an amen? So it has been, an unfolding of a journey. My oldest is in 3rd grade, so I guess you could say we've been homeschooling for like 4 or 5 years if we give and take preschool, if we count that. And I have changed a lot in the curriculum that I've used and the things, and this is the first year where I feel like we have come to a really good groove, and that is including enrichments. I would say before this year, we actually didn't do a ton of enrichments, studies besides little extracurricular activities. And so I'm really excited to really just share what has worked really well with us this past year. I'm going to share some of the things I'm hoping to include this next year for enrichment, and hopefully this will inspire you and encourage you. So be sure to give this a like if you enjoy this video. So the first thing I just wanted to share about is, so new to me this year was the Simply Charlotte Mason curriculum. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but basically Simply Charlotte Mason really wants us to give a feast of ideas to our children. And so this was our first year doing a morning basket, and in that basket we include poetry and read-alouds and art and music and all of these things that are outside of reading, writing, and arithmetic. And those 3 core things the kids can mostly do independently. So what I like about the enrichment and the morning basket and why it's worked so well for us is that it gives me an opportunity to work with the kids and to discuss ideas and work on things together. Now, what I have found with enrichment studies, and I'm going to share in a minute some of the things that we've really enjoyed, is we have to start with those at the beginning of the day. If we don't, I find out that I'm completely burned out after lunch and don't want to do any extracurricular things. And so what works really well for us is starting the day off doing these enrichment studies, and then we can move on to the reading, writing, arithmetic, their independent work that they can basically just punch out as fast as they want to. So a few of the things that we have really enjoyed this year is our Mozart studies. This is from Simply Charlotte Mason. You can get this right on their website. But not only just this curriculum, we have actually just been listening to Mozart all year. And the girls have just really started to be familiar with his tunes, recognize his style. I actually majored in music myself in college. But it's different, having it in your own home and teaching it in a homeschool environment. So we really enjoyed that. It's as simple as just listening to music, discussing Mozart, and just getting to know him and prioritizing those simple things. We do that like once a week. The other thing that we've really enjoyed is her poetry books. This is Robert Louis Stevenson. This is the poet. We decided to study, and simply in the Charlotte Mason, they encourage you to choose a poet each year or semester, and so we chose Robert Louis Stevenson, and his poems have been a delight. Just so fun, childhood, imagination, and it's been really very enjoyable to read them together, to think about them, to have the girls practice their printing and memorization with the Robert Louis Stevenson poems. I think that's a really great enrichment choice, is poetry. And I actually hated literature. So coming from a non-fan of literature, I have really enjoyed poetry in this setting. And I'm encouraged by that, because I was hoping that the things that I kind of dreaded as a student in like history and poetry and literature, I was hoping that as I taught them, I would get a chance to really just enjoy them. And that's one of the best parts about homeschooling, is just being able to choose things that bring joy into learning so that the children enjoy learning, right? That is really the primary goal. This has been an awesome book for us. This is the Good and the Beautiful, the Creative Arts and Crafts Project. I think it was like $8. And we have done most of the crafts in this book. And as a non-artsy, crafty person, as that would be me, this is kindergarten level. So we've had some really fun water painting projects and hands crafts and doing with yarn, and that has been a great enrichment for us once a week to kind of find a project that we can do that's doable, that I don't feel overwhelmed, but we're also getting to learn a little bit of art, which I consider enrichment. So actually, our science has been bird study this year, and we're almost done with this book, and it coincided with a couple other Simply Charlotte Mason books, but this is the Burgess book for children, and it is a delightful story. If you've ever read any of the Burgess books, it actually takes you into a story with Peter Rabbit, and he's getting to know all of these birds through these stories, and it has just brings a lot of humor and fun. And so Read-alouds is probably the one major thing that we did new this year that has been incredible. So we also read earlier this year Pilgrim's Progress. This is an ancient book. This copy is from when I was a little kid. This was amazing. And then our other read aloud that we're almost done with is The Secret Garden. And after The Secret Garden, since we've been studying Robert Louis Stevenson, we're really looking forward to actually doing some of his books, not just his poetry, like the Arabian Nights. So that's going to be really fun. And then looking forward to enrichment this summer. I got the Simply Charlotte Mason Out of Doors Nature Study. So we're going to start doing that now that the weather is getting a lot nicer. So these are some of the things that we've done in like our morning basket to just bring enrichment to the reading, writing, and arithmetic. Also, we've had a lot of fun in the beginning of the year. So my youngest is almost 3 months old. So this is kind of a interesting year for us because he was born January 21st. So we did some enrichment studies during the holiday season. We did a 5 in the row unit, and we did a Advent project, so that was really fun. But then the baby was born. So the enrichment studies kind of fell off the wagon until we really got our feet going again at the end of February. In the fall, we were actually doing nature walks with some homeschool friends locally on Fridays, and we're going to be getting back to that. So I'm really looking forward to just getting outside and exploring nature. Our daughters also have the opportunity to do archery at our local church on Monday nights. So that is a great enrichment for them. They actually love it. They loved it so much that it they actually asked for bow and arrows for Christmas. So that was their want that we got them, were bow and arrows. And so Monday they have archery. And then my third grader does viola. As a music major myself, I just have a really great appreciation for kids learning music. I think not only does it help them just learn some good analytical thinking skills, but it's also a lot of fun. And her uncle actually is her teacher, and she takes it with a few other friends, and she's been taking lessons since last fall, so September, and she's really doing well. And then I was a music teacher for 13 years, and so I teach both of the girls piano. Perhaps at some time I will outsource that just so that they can have like another teacher in their life. But for now, I'm teaching them piano, and it's great. It's a lot of fun, just practicing each day. And I think that I include that as like part of our enrichment. That is definitely part of school, is their music and playing and practicing every single day. And I encourage them to do that. Like, I encourage them to just play piano if they want to, or read books if they want to. I think that enrichment can be a very broad category, and you can choose things that are going to work really well for your family. So that's kind of what enrichment looks for us right now. I love it. I think that that's the best part of homeschool, is the enrichment studies, and I'm really grateful that I was kind of directed to the Simply Charlotte Mason kind of way of thinking last year, and just started reading one of her books. So I'm really excited to what I can learn over the summer, just to enrich our education for next fall. Some of the things I'm hoping to incorporate more is like a poetry tea time. We did not start that this year. I knew with the baby coming that would just be too much. But I would really like to take what we've been learning with like Robert Louis Stevenson and incorporate a poetry tea time. So maybe my goal will be like every other week coming in the new year. So if you do poetry tea time, let me know in the comments below, maybe your favorite thing that you've done, or maybe you have a tip for me for poetry tea time. I would appreciate that as we kind of, maneuver and go through that. So that is how we prioritize enrichment in our house. We do it first thing during the day when I have the most brain power and energy, because the enrichment studies are really what take the most for me as a mom. And so it's important for me to prioritize that. And so that works really well. And then just including them in some fun activities like the music and the archery at their church, and doing those things allow them to make their friendships and have fellowship and socialize with, their community. And I think that those things are really, really important. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for just tuning in and hearing about how we use enrichment in our home. I would love to hear how you do it in your home. And be sure to check out the playlist, other moms sharing how they prioritize enrichment as well. And I will see you soon.